Hey, Ben, John, and Ray here from Three Guys.
This is video number 2 of our walk around Oahu.
Hope you enjoy it.
5 hours in,
16 miles down.
to a little ranch for a little breakfast and sunrise action.
Wow.
That's it.
Show them the mountain.
That's a Soch Meats pick right there.
Hey! It's eating time.
Go.
Hi, Nana. Love you.
Hi, Grandma. Nice to meet you.
Just working things out.
Really the worst.
So June 26th, I've got the Garmin app, so I have a screenshot of our first 16 miles, which is the first leg of it. That was the first checkpoint. But we stepped off at 12:14 a.m. on June 26th. And yeah, like Joe came over, we kind of finished loading everything up. Had a couple extra bites of food, and then we stepped off on the 26th. So that's like, I think it was the weekend before the 4th of July weekend. Was that next weekend we went up to the North Shore?
Yep. Stepped off. Our first checkpoint was at Cool Little Ranch, 16 miles away. So basically, just went through the night from midnight till, I don't know, it was like 05. We got there just as sunrise came up. So went 16 miles right after that.
16.4 miles, almost 5 hours, 4 hours and 50 minutes. So yeah, it was basically 5 a.m. by the time we got there.
Just like ready to go, you know. And we stepped off in the middle of the night. It was good, you know. Got some good music going, got some good talking going. Kind of talked about, you know, the days to come. And we picked up a good friend, Joe. I don't know if you want to talk about it a little bit. Met a buddy about probably 2 hours into it.
Yeah, 10 miles in.
It was interesting starting off at midnight because it's like anywhere you go at like midnight to 04, it's kind of like a ghost town. So there's like very few people out, and you're like walking along the side of the road that I've never walked along before. So you're gonna start to see things like you don't usually see, like between weird pieces of trash or just like, you know, you drove past the same sign every day, but now you're like actually a foot away from it. So it's like things just look different at nighttime, different temperature. Just like John said, they threw some music on, started walking, and we got into. What did we get into? I forget the name of the town we got into.
I don't even know what that's called. It's like just past Kaneohe.
Yeah, like just outside of Kaneohe. Like we get up there and this gentleman showed up on a bicycle out of the woods. It was like a homeless gentleman, and he followed us from Kaneohe, north of Kaneohe, all the way up to Kulo Ranch.
10 miles maybe?
Yeah, 10 miles on his bicycle in the middle of the road, and just talked to us the whole time. It was crazy. Almost caused a traffic accident, which was pretty hairy. And then he just followed us the whole time. And then later that day, towards the end of the day, he'd gotten a ride from somebody past us up to the North Shore, and he bumped into us again at the North Shore. And like couldn't understand like where we had come from. And we were still walking, we were still seeing people. But yeah, it was pretty wild though. Yeah.
Yeah, our buddy on the bike was like, at sometimes very aggressive towards us. I sometimes didn't say anything, but he would ride 200 meters ahead of us and like lay down. And then we would get up to him, he'd start like talking to us. Sometimes it was like very aggressive, and like we were like, you know, we would like take our headphones out and be like very aware of what he was doing. But other times he wouldn't say anything. And then he was like kind of getting more and more aggressive. But at one point he like rode his bike like very close to us, like almost like he was gonna run into us. And then he passed us another 50 meters ahead of us. He's in the left lane, so like into oncoming traffic. And we were coming up to like where a blind spot in a turn was, and you know, there was like 3 or 4 cars in a row. They come whipping around the turn because nobody's on the road because it's 4 a.m. and they're probably, you know, on their morning to commute down to Honolulu. And the first car, being able to have the most like visual forward, it's a close call, but he very clearly misses him. You know, he swerves left into the other lane. The guy on the bike basically just challenging these cars, just keeps in the lane, doesn't even like react to it. Almost like he didn't even like know the cars were there. Like he was, I don't know. So the first car sees him because nobody else is in front of him, and he's able to react. Now, like the chain of events or the reaction to that is like each car subsequently has that much less time to react. I like for sure thought this dude was gonna die, because it was like the first car was close. It was like that was uncomfortable. Then the second car and the third car and the fourth car, like they just kept becoming like, it was the point where like they're like were slamming their brakes and like swerving left and like almost crashing themselves, like trying to avoid him. And the dude like never reacted.
He just kept swerving his bicycle.
It was insane.
Yeah.
It was like there was like another time in my life where I was like that person's gonna die for sure. One other time, and they didn't. But it was like the same feeling where you kind of want to help, but you're like in a position where you can't help. Plus, like it'd be a weird thing to like we had no way to like help him, but it felt like he was gonna be dead for sure, and he didn't somehow. I don't know. And he acted like he didn't even like. He had no reaction. It was the most bizarre thing.
Yeah.
So getting to the first checkpoint, were you like, did you even want to rest, or was that more of like we should just rest because like it's probably like we gotta pace ourselves?
We really
How are you
didn't
feeling?
rest the first checkpoint.
Yeah.
Like we stopped walking. The checkpoints kind of like varied on like what exactly we did.
Yeah.
I think the first one, we basically like, we stopped walking. Micah had like woken up around like, you know, a half hour before, and she pretty much timed it up just right. Like as we were getting there, she was driving up and arrived pretty much right when we did.
Yeah, we kind of used her as like the van as like a safe spot to hang out. So that our buddy on the bike would leave us alone for like 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
we just hung out. Micah brought us coffee. We took some pictures in our shorts
Yo.
and soaked in the sunrise over at the Cool Ranch, which is nice, right on the beach right there, and then just kept pushing.
We probably did the first 3 before it was like 12-1, the heat of the day, and that's where we stopped up at the food trucks and just like laid down in the shade.
That's where I first started really feeling it. We got to the food trucks. That's where like I laid down and just fell asleep. I was like, I'm starting to feel my body's starting to feel.
Yeah,
We're
like
working.
12 hours in, 13 hours
It
in.
was right at like 2, yeah, usually like 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon after walking throughout the heat of the day, all throughout the morning. You know, up to that point it wasn't that bad, and then we stopped, grabbed some food, laid down, and we all just passed out. We're like, this is tough. And at that point we picked up. We went to 43 miles first day, just about 43 miles
Yeah,
first day
40,
from
yeah.
our place up through Kaneohe, up the north shore of the east coast of Hawaii, up to Oahu rather, up to Waimea Bay for the first day.
Every time we like stopped somewhere, after like probably the first stop, it was like as quickly as we could, scarfing down food, like chugging a water bottle, a Gatorade, filling up our water sources, and like prepping for the next thing. And then it was like shoes off. Actually, probably first thing was shoes off. Like, and then you're like laying down, feet up to try and get some of the fluid to drain out of it. My feet in particular were like very swollen, and my ankles and my Achilles were bothering me. But that was like the routine that we got into. It was like, you know, you stop, food, fill up anything, lay down, feet up, and just like catch like 10, 20, 30 minute. We started out like the first time we took a stop, it wasn't like it didn't work out, but it's just like we didn't know what we needed. We didn't know where stuff was. We didn't quite have like our system down yet. We didn't have like a plan, but it was fine. But like after, it might have been like the Waimea Bay stop. I'm trying to think of, we did outdoor stops, probably the first like 3 or 4 stops. But then, like, I don't know who coined the term, but setting up the locker room became like what we did. It was like an essential thing. And I think it's probably Micah like did it the first time. And then like we started calling it that, or she called it that. But setting up the locker room was, I think there was 3 or 4 big coolers. So we like got out the things we needed. We used the coolers as benches, and like she already had the food out, and she had the doors closed and the AC blasting.
Yeah.
And that was like that was a motivation for like the last mile of each like 2 hour walk or whatever, however it was like broken down. But I think so we went to Canada Point, and that was outside still, but I think maybe the first time she set up the locker room was at the other side of Canada Point when we were starting to come back east now.
Yeah.
I remember she like, it was like a weird thing. There was like roads closed. There wasn't anywhere for her to go. And it might have even just been out of necessity where she just like set it all up inside. And after doing that with the AC on and spending that like 45 minutes inside, like we never went back to,
Right.
or maybe we did once or twice, but that was like a huge difference maker.
Yeah.
At least like for the hot parts of the day that we like had to have it like that.
Yeah. We had a stop at Foodland where it was like all the fruit was set out and all of our friends came.
That was one of the
That
best
was-
ones, yeah.
That was awesome.
There was like 9 people in the van. They're all just
But we all
jammed
fit,
in there,
Yeah.
passing food around, eating.
Yeah.
It was great.
And I don't know, we asked them. I don't know what they were thinking. They came to, it was awesome. Like, we had Kaylin once, Bobby once, and then like 2 stops in a row. It was like big turnout. And I think Micah started calling people and they were like, these guys need help. So I think that's might have been part of it. I think she mentioned that, but we had like 9, we got a picture of it. We were all crammed in this thing, and she got this awesome spread of like fresh fruit, and like she like mixed up the meals, that one at least, a lot of fruit, different like drinks. And she was like, you guys are all eating and drinking X amount of things before you leave. I remember she like briefed us when we got in. She's like, this is the rule. There's a bathroom right there. This is the food. Each one of you is eating and drinking X, Y, Z before you're allowed to like start the next leg. And we just sat in the AC. And I think that was probably one of the ones where we might not have slept since everybody was there.
Yeah, we didn't sleep, I don't think, on that one. We were just like chilling.
But that was cool. We were just like in a, it's funny because nobody else probably knew that was going on. Like what was going on inside the van.
Yeah,
And-
outside the van, you like no idea.
Yeah, it's just like a super normal parking lot, very busy, like a food land in the middle of like a big shopping center with like this huge, big, beautiful tree that we were underneath. And yeah, we were just like eating and drinking and
Yeah, it was awesome.
refueling, hanging out.
Like outside of somebody's like house on the ground, on the North Shore, it was just like stop, get some sleep, get some food, like check the feet. And then after like the middle of the second day, I stopped wanting to look at my feet because I didn't want to like take off the socks and like disturb whatever was going on because like I hadn't had any real problems yet. So I was like, I'm just gonna, they must be good. We'll just leave them alone, keep pushing. But
Yeah, and one of my friends asked me what we're doing. He's like, hey, was it continuous? You know, was it continuous? Did you stop? And I was like, oh yeah, we stopped. We like slept every night. But really, those were our sleep. Our sleep time was, hey, we're gonna take a 15-minute nap and turn it into a 35-minute nap. But we'll take that small nap, and then hey, tonight we'll get sleep. But it really wasn't, because our first night, I guess I'll kind of go into this. I don't know if it's something you're gonna ask, but first day, get to Waimea Bay, hey, get some cheeseburgers in us. We're like, yeah, first day we did it, you know.
Have a few beers.
Have a few big waves, 2 beers each, and we were like, wow, okay, time for bed. So we go across the street to the Waimea Bay parking lot, and there's this little grassy area, and it looked like somewhere we probably shouldn't stay or wouldn't be allowed to stay, but we're like, hey, it looks super comfortable, let's just do it. And we all brought our ISO mats, our little like, half an inch thick, little
So you
piece of
yoga
foam,
mat pretty much.
like our yoga mat, yeah, and a sleeping bag, and that was gonna be our primary way to sleep. So, we bed down around 8 o'clock or so that night.
Yeah. We probably got there around 6:30. Had some food. We kind of all took we didn't really think about this, and it's kind of weird because of the virus. Like a lot of the public bathrooms and areas were closed. This one was open though, so we all took turns. I don't even think we brought soap. Maybe we did. I can't remember. I don't think I brought soap. Maybe I used one of yours, but we just rinsed off in the shower.
Yeah.
And just yeah, it was, you felt weird. We weren't dirty really, but after not very long, you were just super oily, because you like I don't know. It was like felt
You
different.
apply sunscreen every stop.
Yeah, that's
the
it too,
sun is
yeah.
like beating down on you all day.
Right, salt in the air. You just kind of like
You felt
yeah.
weird. And like
Yeah, you got a layer of grime kind of built up
Yeah.
on you.
It was like road grime from cars driving by and other things, and like
I guess we were dirty. Yeah.
dust and sand, and then it sticks to
Yeah.
your sunscreen.
Yeah, and then you can visually see on us, like my like black hat is just white from all the salt. My green shirt is just all covered in white from all the salt from both the ocean and our sweat all day.
And the other thing, like I felt like we had got a pretty good variety of food for us to eat. Like I wasn't eating the same thing for every meal, but I like hated the food that we had by the end of it. We had like I made like some like a pasta thing, and we all had like sandwiches and like granola bars and Gatorades and stuff. Like I couldn't drink Gatorade for a little while after it. I couldn't like think of eating another turkey sandwich. It was just like because you just like ate it 8 times a day or whatever,
Yeah,
and it was like
it's disgusting.
Yeah, it was
I couldn't
weird.
look at like a Pop-Tart anymore, And we all brought our own food, which is kind of cool. So we kind of like share with each other every now and then. But Micah found some cheeseburgers after the first day, first stop, and then we were all fat and happy. And we went to our sleeping bags. We're like, man, finally get some rest. We'll sleep from 8 to midnight. 4 hours or so. Get a solid 4 hours in. Pick back up and start going.
Is that what happened?
No,
Not quite.
no, yeah,
Not quite,
around
man.
9:30, 10.
But excuse me, you're the head of the guy in my life. How can you try?
Thank you for that.
Oh. Get in there.
Nice.
Bless you.